Hey everybody, welcome back to our neck of the woods. So no, we're not moving, but today is the day that I think we finally determined that we're gonna get all of our stuff out of storage. Aaron and I have been paying for a storage unit for like 3 years now that held the majority of our old house. We left a lot of things when we sold our house. The couple that bought it off of wanted a lot of our furniture that I had made and that we had purchased. Oh look, Aaron's got more flowers planted. How nice. And it just went with the house really well with the colors. I painted it and all that stuff and decorated. And Aaron decorated with like a chair, love seat thing that sat by the front window. They just liked a bunch of stuff. So it's not everything that we had, but a good majority. So with the basement finally being dried in, we want to go ahead and just start grabbing everything and bringing it over to our basement. Last night and the day before, Aaron did a lot of work cleaning the floor, getting all of that silt off the floor that when it had flooded, it brought silt into the basement. So the gym basically is all nice and clean. The floor is all nice and clean. So we're pretty much ready that we can go ahead and bring everything in. And that's been $109 a month for like 3 years. So time to get out of there. And then we also have a storage unit that was housing our stair treads, all of our lumber and construction pieces. So we're gonna get that all cleaned up and close that out, and that saves us $219 a month. So we're moving all that stuff today. But as for the rest of the title of this video, we finally got neighbors. Now, I had made a video or a little clip about this the other day, but it came off a little too salty. They started bringing over their heavy equipment and stuff I think like 3 days ago, and they started at 6:50 a.m. So I was not happy, and Aaron and I aren't exactly thrilled that this is happening either, but some things I said may not have been too nice, so I'm in a better mood now. So I'm gonna basically come over here every now and again, sneak by, show you guys some stuff that they're doing, how traditional house building is getting done, give kind of a personal opinion on it. I don't want to be mean about it. The neighbors are really nice. It's actually a old woman and man who I think bought the property for their son and his little like 2, 3, 4-year-old daughter. They have been over here like a million times. They mow the grass, which this was never grass. This was like 8-foot tall, disgusting weeds and everything. You couldn't even see the property before. There was a house that used to be here, and it got knocked down by a realtor who bought it, which Aaron and I are a little salty about this too. This house was falling apart. The realtor found the owner, bought it off of her for only $6,500. I don't feel that that was exactly fair, but they didn't want to sell this property to another family that lives in this area that pretty much owns everything. Like all of these farmlands, they own it all. So they didn't want to do that. So she sold it to this realtor for only $6,500. If I would have known that, I would have given that lady $40,000 or $50,000 for this, just so no one could move in next to Aaron and I. And it's not that we don't like our neighbors and stuff, but we just love the peace and quiet out here. I don't think a dad and a daughter are going to be very loud and really do anything, but I don't know. It just would have been nicer if Aaron and I had swooped this property up. And then the old couple also swooped up this little shanty shack that's falling apart too. So these two were just not doing good. So they own that too. They'll probably knock that down, and this guy's gonna have a nice 2.5 acres over here. As you can see, again, this is all nice and mowed now. They come out here and mow it every week. And yeah, I don't know what they're gonna do with this, eventually knock it down, but they're building a house. So we've got some new neighbors coming in. Again, we're not exactly 100% thrilled What I'm not really thrilled about is the home builder that they purchased. To me, this home builder builds the cheapest houses in Ohio. I'm not saying it's cheap construction, like the house is going to fall apart or anything, but they are the cheapest builder, and there is a few reasons. So number one, as you can see, something that I wouldn't do. They've used the black corrugated piping. They have put 0 stone under it. It is sitting right on clay with muddy, nasty water, and there's no filter fabric keeping the silt and the clay out from rising up into that pipe one day, completely clogging it and then having it be useless. Number two, their footers are pretty rough. You definitely could not set ICF blocks down in there. I mean, especially if you look like right here, it wasn't troweled, it wasn't smooth, it's just completely rough. This company saves money by, they still do cinder block basements. So the reason why it probably is so rough is because they'll probably put down a thick bead of mortar, set the first block on there, get that level, and then it'll be a level basement. But I'm not exactly thrilled with cinder block construction unless you do it correctly. And one way that I would do cinder block construction is down through the cinder blocks, I would put vertical rebar. Horizontally through the blocks, I would put rebar, which requires you to take a hand grinder or something and grind out a little valley or tunnel or a little like U shape so that a piece of rebar can lay down in the block, run horizontally. Then when you put your mortar and stack your next block, it's basically now a concrete and rebarred foundation. I don't think they're going to do that. And then the third step would be pouring concrete down in through all the cinder blocks. So now you have a solid, tight wall. The other thing that I'm seeing here is there's no vertical rebar coming up. So how well are you going to tie a foundation to its footer if you've got no vertical rebar that's going to run through any of your block and hold your block in place? You've got a cold joint that's going to go there in between a cinder block, mortar, and concrete that's already hardened. So you could probably push that wall over one day, which is why a lot of basements end up failing. I've seen the cinder blocks crack, the mortar crack, the walls start to bow in, and then somebody has to pay thousands upon thousands of dollars to put in I-beam reinforcements to hold the wall back. And there was one of these homes built down the street that I stopped in and looked at a couple times, and I don't think they do a proper backfill either. They do put black tar on the cinder block and put that on, but then they put this like paper thin fiberglass mat. That to me is not going to be anything for proper drainage for water. It doesn't do anything for our value. And then I think they just backfill with the native soil, which is why they've kept most of these piles right here. So I think the hydrostatic pressure on this basement is going to build up very quickly. And I think one day the wall is going to bow, crack, and fail. I've seen it 100 times before. So 2, 3, 4 things now that we're up to now that I just wouldn't do. So it's not my place to tell the people that, hey, this builder, I don't know, but we'll go through it. And if you guys want to see more updates on how this is looking, let me know, and we'll go ahead and update you guys and kind of sneak over here step by step and see what they're doing. So just a few other things real quick that I'm noticing. I don't know why they have a drain into the basement from the French drain, because obviously they've already put the sump pump, it's over there. That pipe right there is draining downhill. I don't know if you can see it, but that's actually going to bring water into the basement. So maybe something will go over there that it could work its way over to the septic, or maybe that should have been sloped away. That way any water that builds up in the basement has a chance to leak out underneath of the stone and the concrete and get into the French drain. But yeah, that pipe is got at least at the end tip of it has a good 5% or so downslope into the house, not away from the house. So not exactly sure about that one. Again, I can see the concrete wasn't consolidated at all. Don't know if there's rebar in there. And I do see these hooks here right there, and there's some rebar like bend hooks Don't know if that counts as your electrical grounding rod that you'll have to tie the panel into. I do not see an electrical grounding rod anywhere, which is code that actually needed signed off from the county before you pour your footers. So I'm not sure where that is, but again, that you have to put a rod down in through the footer, attach it to the rebar, and then your electrical panel will get grounded to that. And I don't see it. All of these penetration points in the footers, they just went ahead and put right through. So these footers are not connected at all. On my French drain, I went under the footer, so it was a solid lock in there. So again, not really sure how well that's gonna do without having the footers move, especially let's say this corner right here. This corner of the house right here is all by itself. It's not attached there, there, or there, and there's not rebar running through it. So if that corner right there wants to sink, then that corner of the basement on that cinder block wall is gonna crack, shift, and move, and that's gonna make the whole wall fail. So don't like that. Again, not my place to say anything, just updating you guys with just some little things that I see. And looks like this over here is probably going to be a crawl space. So the entire house will be, it looks like a good size. It's going to go from that corner probably over to that corner. But this is interesting. They're going to need one heck of a lot of backfill here because the top of that concrete is even with the natural soil that hasn't been excavated, and your footers have to be 32 inches below grade. So with that being even with this ground here, they would have to bring in 32 inches of soil to get all the way up and over. So that way that footer is protected from the weather so that it doesn't shift, move, and crack and stuff. And then last, it looks like they've got maybe a 1.5 car garage. It may be 2.5, I'd have to measure it, but I don't know why these footers here drop down and then go back up. I'm not sure why this footer over here really drops down and goes back, but obviously you can see that's the driveway. Oh, that's a nice big hole or footprint that collapsed right there. That will make for cinder block. Well, you can fill it in with mortar, I guess, since that's what this company uses. And then last, I think this little piece over here that the French drain is going around, and it's not tied in monolithically. I think that's going to be a foundation for a front porch. So it looks like it'll be, like I said, the company makes nice looking houses. They just use not the greatest construction methods, in my opinion. They also still use 2x4 walls. So not exactly sure how they're going to meet code to get to an R15, which is now code. The cheap pink insulation is only a R13. So to get up to an R15, you're gonna have to use like a rock wool or a much more expensive insulation than the cheap pink stuff. But I don't know. Let me know if you guys want me to keep sneaking over here and seeing anything. Let me know if you guys saw anything that I missed. But yeah, your foundation is the beginning of your home. It's the most important thing. So that super scares me that there's no rebar coming up through the footers to attach the cinder block wall. Or even if they didn't do cinder block, maybe the reason why that footer can be so rough, maybe they are going to use a poured foundation. So the footer can be rough as can be, because after they set their panels, put in their rebar, what metal reinforcement they do when they pour the basement walls, what's it really matter? Because if it's rough on the footer, the concrete's just going to go in there and smooth. All they have to do is make sure that they get their panels 100% smooth, so the top of the concrete is completely smooth. But again, that worries me. I don't like having a basement and not being locked to the foundation. And again, unless they've changed their methods, I am very scared how I'm going to see that they backfill and waterproof, and if they don't do it correctly, that poor guy and his mom and dad are in for a rude awakening one day when that basement wall, if it bows and cracks. And again, I'm not saying cinder block is bad. You can make cinder block 100%. I'm sure with YouTubers here, we've all seen Andrew Karma. Oh crap, what's Andrew's last name? He's an excavator show. He's got like 600,000 subscribers, but he did exactly what I'm talking about. He built his like workshop castle out of shipping containers, built a cinder block wall up on the top so you can't fall over, but he put rebar grinding through the tops of the cinder block, setting them horizontally, putting them vertically, pouring concrete down in between all of the holes. So now that is a proper way to use cinder block. So again, I will keep you guys updated over here. We'll see what's going on, and for the rest of the day, we're going to be moving our stuff, so hang tight, we'll be back. Well, we're all done. That seemed like a complete disaster. We lost 2 pieces of furniture. One of them, I don't know if the storage units just get too hot, and most of this crap furniture that we get in this country is all made from MDF, and huge sags and stuff. The backs were bowing, and there was kind of mold growth on a lot of stuff. I don't know if it was actually mold or just something going on that I wiped off with a little bit of water and vinegar. And then this kind of one of our nicest pieces, the top caved in. We had a strap on it, and the MDF just completely collapsed and broke it. And it's probably rebuildable for the bottom, maybe getting something on the top. But this was our fireplace insert. So there was supposed to be a nice insert in there that I said that would have gone in our master bedroom. TV would have gone above it, not actually sitting on it. And then the fireplace insert, you can kind of turn it on for actually some pretty good heat output. But I guess I'm just going to use the insert and probably build my own thing around it now. But it'll be kind of nice to still use that again for the ambiance and slash having it in there. But into the house real quick. It's funny, you think we would have more stuff, or it felt like we would have more stuff than what we actually brought over. I don't know how well you can see, but we only had one like 15 by 20 foot storage unit. So we only really have a couple of dressers, our bed, TV, all of our artwork, as you can see, hopefully if you can see. Well, obviously we're into Ohio State and horses and stuff. Then there's just a bunch of totes with clothes in it and stuff. So I think we're gonna have to do a heck of a lot of shopping when we actually get the house done. But at least now we've got some weights over here and our barbell, just our rack. Hopefully the gym can kind of be the first thing done here down into the basement. Wall that off to protect everything over there from dust and everything. We'll get the gym wall put up, and as long as the county approves me, I guess, on the electric in the basement, and for that, the gym over there, which technically they don't even have to know about, I guess. I can always wire the gym up myself at a later time. But if we get the gym walled off, get some drywall up in there, leave all of our stuff in there, and it'll be nice and secure and safe, and drywall dust and everything won't get on it. And then when we're actually ready for the radiant floor heating and stuff, and when we get to that point where we're actually ready to move in, we can go ahead and move that stuff into where they're gonna be and start hanging stuff on the walls. But I got a feeling 90% of that stuff is gonna go, and we're gonna want all new stuff for a new house that goes with what we want. And you know, who knows. Few updates on flooring though. My sister's house didn't turn out too well with using this porcelain tile here. As you can see, that is an absolute crap load. Basically, I guess the guy that she hired to put that floor in and kind of rebuild part of her house, they did use the proper flooring that goes under that, but they nailed it and didn't screw it. And then I guess they used the wrong type of mortar underneath of it. And I guess the whole floor moved, and it moved on top. And then all the more sand type of mortar or whatever they used again to glue everything down basically broke, and these full tiles just peeled on up. So Erin said she wanted to use it. I want to use it. I do like that they're 7-inch planks. I like the really light color. That would go good in the laundry room when you first walk into the house, and then there's so much of that left over. I can go ahead and put that in something that I haven't told you guys yet. I'm actually in the process of making a video. There's going to be a secret little room down in the basement just for me, and I don't know, those are probably wide enough that it may not look great if you put them across without actually staggering the joints and stuff, but just hang tight. I'll get that video out to you guys. But that may go down in my little room in the basement, and again, I think it'd be good for the laundry room and maybe the half bath. There's definitely plenty of there to do stuff with. So we'll see what Erin actually wants to do with it, if she does like the color and sees it in a whole, as opposed to like the little sample piece that we got before. And then we finished out our storage unit. So we got all of our treads back that we had milled. So if you guys don't remember these from forever ago, those are gonna be the stairs in my basement. So we're gonna take out those just 2x10s or whatever that are down there. And we've got these massive guys going in. So the first stair will have to be planed down really thin so that you meet that on code, because the first stringer really doesn't account for that first step. But every one going up from then should accommodate these almost 3-inch thick, 4.5 foot wide pieces of, I believe they're all ash. So that is how you're gonna get down into the basement. I've got to talk to some friends though and figure out how we're gonna plane these down. My planer's not enjoying them too well just because of how thick they are. And as they're going through the planer, any wobbling as they go through like that, you're getting a little bit of like scuff in here. So the only reason really to plane them down is to make them all the same thickness. But if this is the top here, all I'd really have to do is sand that down just a little bit. I don't wanna get it obviously baby smooth, because then you're just gonna slip. But I mean, obviously you can see the saw marks that we cut through, so it's kind of nice to leave everything as little as possible, but we still have to figure out, you know, are we going to stain it and do stuff like that. And I mean, we got to do something with them, but I've got 15 of these guys to cut and figure out how I'm going to modify them and make them kind of the end-all stair going down in there. They won't be put in until pretty much I get a lot of stuff down into the basement, and the basement's more finished, so we're not trekking mud and screwing them up. But I don't know. My father-in-law's got some almost carpet type stuff down, or rug type down, kind of just in the middle, so that way you don't slip on it and it's still a lot of it is exposed. So anybody out there with wood treads, let me know what you guys do. Do you leave them 100% wood, or do you actually put something down so you don't slip? But again, we'll leave those off for now until the basement gets more finished. But I'm gonna cut them up, and at least when I get time, I'll start finishing them out and making them look good. And then last, I don't know if I ever showed you guys these, but we've got some timber beams going into the house. They are not structural, they're just going to be for looks, but I had them cut up structurally. So all of this lumber is actually from our property. So we've got some silver maples and we've got some ash also. And I'll give you kind of a rough idea how they're gonna look, but it'll make sense more in the future. But in the house, we've got some 7x7 posts that are gonna go against this wall over here, pretty much in between the door and the first window here in the kitchen. There's gonna be a 7x7 beam that holds up a 7x11-inch huge beam. This beam is gonna get installed basically where you transition underneath of the kitchen ceiling, where we've got the end truss going down. It goes down and then cuts in under the kitchen. This is gonna hang down 11 inches. So good thing we have 10.5 foot ceilings, because we're taking a foot basically off of that ceiling. So it's gonna be about 9.5 feet up before you hit to the bottom of this. So you've got a 7x7 post that's gonna hold up a 7x11 beam. That's gonna run all the way across, splitting that truss, and it'll dead end into the wall where I put the half bath in my little hidden secret broom closet. And then these three guys right here, they are gonna go from this beam and they're going to transition over and go against the back wall of the kitchen. So like if you're standing at the island, you'll have 3 beams running above your head, going from that main beam going to the back wall. So it'll give the kitchen ceiling basically a nice look, and again, it's splitting the kitchen from the living room, dropping down a pretty good distance. And we just got to figure out how we're going to cut these, how we're going to finish them. These things weigh an absolute ton. So the 7x7s are basically going to be supporting a lot of the weight, but I do plan on kind of attaching it to the trusses also. Like I want to go ahead and mill out probably a couple inches down, maybe the size of a 2x4 in through here, and kind of hollow it out. That way then when you push the beam up, you can attach it to the truss going all the way down. And then again, the main weight can kind of sit on the floor, but I don't want too much of it to sit on the floor, because then I don't want to bow where the subfloor is if it's not over a truss. And not to mention 7x7, that's putting a lot of pressure down on a kind of a square inch there for all of that weight. So if we can get it held up to the trusses, hollow it out, really lighten it up, then it'll be a lot easier to install and move around and hang them. And then same thing with this thing. We can go ahead and take a 2x4 and run it across every single truss in the kitchen, just nail it or screw it up into the trusses, and then notch out a 2x4 in here. Pick those up, set them in the notch, screw and bolt into the 2x4, so that way it's all kind of secure and held together, and they're all kind of one piece. And yeah, that's just a much later project, but we got those out of storage. We got our treads out of storage. So we just got a lot of cutting and milling and planing and finishing, protecting, and everything else. But it's nice that something on our property is going into this house. So it's the trees again that we cut down, huge dead ash right there, a couple of silver maples that were sitting right here, and actually right here where I'm standing. So I think it's going to look awesome, and it'll really give the house some character. But that's all I got for you guys in this video. So stay tuned. Give me some suggestions how you think we should finish these out. Give me some suggestions if you think I should do anything to those to lighten them up and make them look a little bit easier and install a little bit easier. Oh, and one thing I did forget is the 2 big, huge beams here that are 7x11. We are going to have somebody, or I'm going to figure out how to attach these 2 to each other. So instead of just butting them up straight into each other, basically in the middle of the kitchen, we are going to have to cut a scarf joint in here. So once the scarf joint gets put in and these get put together, and they are again sitting on those 7x7 posts, that can technically hold up the entire weight. It doesn't have to hang from the trusses, but it'll be a lot safer though if you got that scarf joint in there, and again, you're not putting all of that weight down just on a 7x7 pad and relying on a floor joist or the subfloor to hold up that weight. And then I guess technically through the posts, we could drill through them and get some huge GRKs or something and go right into the ICF 1.5 inch stripping, again, to take some of the weight off of the floor. So that way that entire wall stripping is basically help holding that up too. So there's several things that we can do to alleviate the weight and everything. But again, let me know what you guys think of all this, how it's gonna look. And yeah, that was moving day. Something that always sucks, something that always breaks or gets scratched up. And again, let me know what you guys want to see in future videos. If you want us to show out this property over here and how they're building it and how much they kick our absolute you-know-what in time frame of beginning to end. And that's just what professional building companies do. So until next time, we'll get back to doing the soffits and everything this week. Maybe take tomorrow, Sunday off, and we'll see you guys next time. So if you like the video, hit the thumbs up, comment, give us some suggestions on what you want to see and how you want us to do things. Hit us up on Instagram at NeckofTheWoods 2020. Subscribe if you haven't already. And again, we'll see you guys next time. So till then, take care.